conduct the business of the school division. We have one member of the school board who wishes to participate in our meeting electronically, as indicated in Board Policy BEE, electronic participation in meetings from remote location. The board member must make such a request, cite the reason for remote attendance, and the board must approve the request by majority vote of the members present. School board member Marvin Harris has made such a request. Mr. Harris, would you please state your reason now?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and rest of the board. Yes, I make a request to be absent and participate remotely because I'm on Department of Defense orders in the state of New Jersey. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Harris. Hearing Mr. Harris's request, may I have a motion from the board?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we allow Mr. Harris to join us remotely for this session.
All right. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Dr. Best. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Best.
4.
Mr. Ely.
4.
Mr. Hunter.
4.
Mrs. Searles Law.
4.
Ms. Amon.
4.
Mr. Brown.
4.
Motion carries 6-0.
All right, thank you. The COVID-19 pandemic and now the Omicron variant continue to affect how we conduct business. Personal barriers are installed between the members of the board, and our staff and visitors are masked and socially distanced in the auditorium and in our overflow areas. We are taking these steps to ensure the health of the public and the well-being of our staff. We value and appreciate your partnership in these matters. We will begin tonight's meeting with invocation and pledge to the flag. Here to do the honors is a student from Denby High School, Kristen Dixon. Kristen, will you please come forward and deliver the invocation and pledge?
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Thank you.
All right. Kristen, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm a senior at Denby. I work all the time, non-stop. I actually do parties up at a jump place, so I'm really working all the time.
Any
customers in and out.
Post-holiday, any post-high school? What do you plan to do after high school?
I plan to go straight to college. I want to be a pediatric nurse, actually.
All right.
All right. Sounds great.
Wonderful. Well, thank you, Kristen. You did a great job. Do you have family and friends tonight that we can recognize from your school family?
Yes,
Maybe?
I have my aunt and my uncle.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
The board appreciates the encouragement that you have given to Christian. Christian, do you have an invocation for us this evening?
Yes, I do. I have a poem.
Wonderful.
The poem is called Be Happy, Not Perfect. There is no such thing as perfect. Where did that word even come from? The perfect husband, the perfect job, the perfect house, the perfect marriage. We are all human, living in a human world. Most are nice, sincere, loving, even kind. But perfect causes such unhappiness. Perfect is unreal, untouchable, except good. Well done and wonderful. Do your best, be your best. There is no such thing as perfect. Be happy, not perfect.
All right. Thank you, Kristen.
You're welcome.
And we wish you all the best in your endeavors, and we hope to hear from you again once you've achieved your goals of being a pediatric nurse.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank
you. All right. You may be seated. And next on our agenda for tonight, our school board recognition. So, Dr. Parker, I believe we have a few.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We have one big recognition for our budget team, and if you'll join me up to in front of the podium.
Good evening. This evening I have the honor of presenting this month's recognition. The Newport News Public Schools budget development process has focused on gathering input, identifying funding priorities, and pinpointing ways to reduce spending to ensure the district's financial resiliency. The budget document has evolved as well. It is user-friendly and understandable, and it includes more historical and statistical information. The transformation is noteworthy and award-winning again. Newport News Public Schools' 21-22 budget document has earned the Association of School Business Officials International's Meritorious Budget Award for excellence in budget presentation. Joining us this evening to accept this recognition on behalf of the budget team is Budget, ERP, and Data Analytics Director, Scarlett Minto. Ms. Minto, would you please come forward? And Senior Budget Analyst Irene Lopez. Ms. Lopez? The 21-22 budget was reviewed by a committee of association members and outside reviewers with experience in public sector budgeting. To earn the Meritorious Budget Award, budget documents have to meet stringent criteria. The budget document has to be clear and understandable. It must include up-to-date budget practices, demonstrate sound fiscal management practices, and effective use of educational resources. The review team commented that the budget is a good budget, which includes a wealth of information in graphic and narrative form. The document is noted as being user-friendly for the average taxpayer, with an abundance of data presented in different forms to meet the needs of varied readers. Many components are suitable as standalone documents. The district is to be congratulated for a successful submission. Newport News Public Schools is to be congratulated for their continuous efforts to pursue the Meritorious Budget Award and to continuously improve their budget document. This is the 11th consecutive year that Newport News Public Schools has earned this prestigious budget award. Congratulations, and Ms. Minto and Ms. Lopez, please share our acknowledgement with your colleagues, and again, congratulations on earning this wonderful award for all you do. Thank you, and again, congratulations to the budget team. At this time, we'll take about a 6-minute break so that our honorees may leave if they choose to school board spotlight. So we'll stand in recess for about 6 minutes. Thank you.
Since the start of the school year, Palmer Elementary students have been celebrated for the superheroes they are. Every Friday, students and staff are recognized as Superheroes of the Week on the morning announcements. In every classroom, teachers select a new student superhero each week based on a number of factors, including academic improvement, helping others by spreading kindness, or showing initiative in their work effort. This helps celebrate the achievements and efforts that students are making every day, and reminds them that Palmer's caring educators notice all the growth each student is making, no matter how big or small. Teachers write personal notes about each superhero, which Principal Dr. Melody Cam proudly reads aloud to the whole school during Friday's morning announcements. These special notes are given to the students to read for themselves and bring home to share with their parents and families. 3 staff members are also selected every week to recognize educators for their hard work, dedication, and going beyond their normal duties to heroically serve the students and families at Palmer. Of course, no superhero ensemble is complete without a flowing cape. So students and staff receive their capes in the morning to wear for the rest of the day. A striking visual reminder of their superhuman efforts. Another visual reminder is the Superhero Showcase, where the not-so-secret identity of past week's superheroes are revealed for the entire school to see. Because of Superheroes of the Week, many students are putting forth extra effort as they strive to be recognized. Palmer students are displaying better behaviors with less suspensions, while attendance has greatly improved with far less chronic absenteeism. Eventually, every student at Palmer will earn their place among the world's most amazing superheroes. Across Newport News Public Schools, students and educators recognized Veterans Day by learning about the contributions of our proud military and taking time to personally thank our local servicemen and women who protect the freedoms we enjoy. Since General Stanford Elementary is located right on Fort Eustis, and every student is a military-connected child, celebrating Veterans Day is a big deal for the school. Student artwork decorating hallways and a wall of heroes honoring family members of students and staff greeted guests entering the front foyer. Third grade educators and support staff organized a number of events that were meaningful for the students and the military families they were honoring. The morning kicked off with Colonel Chesley Thigpen, commander of Joint Base Langley Eustis, greeting soldiers as they dropped off their children at school. He thanked each of them personally and offered a token of appreciation for their continued service. After the morning drop-off, student leaders from the Anchored for Life Club, which supports students when their parents are deployed, presented Colonel Thigpen with a creative banner of thanks. Each class selected a letter to decorate and sign as a gift to the commanding officer for all of the soldiers and airmen that work at Joint Base Langley Eustis. In their classrooms, students learned about the importance of Veterans Day, with many classes working on Veterans Day themed writing assignments. Students also used their art skills to share heartfelt appreciation by designing creative cards of thanks, which were later handed out to soldiers across the base. Located near Fort Eustis, Katherine Johnson Elementary has a large population of military students who attend the school. In honor of Veterans Day, military-connected families and veterans were invited to enjoy a Military Appreciation Paint Party, organized by Family and Community Engagement Specialist Tiffany Jones. As families arrived for the evening celebration, they received personalized cards made by Lucy Wright's second grade students. Under the direction of music teacher Tyrone Hodge, Johnson's Crimson Thunder Drumline, one of the only elementary-age drumlines in Newport News, entertained the veterans with their musical talents and marching flair. Principal Raquel Cox welcomed the military families and thanked the veterans for their service, courage, and sacrifice to our country. After enjoying a free pizza dinner, thanks to Anthem Healthkeepers, everyone picked up their brushes to paint a patriotic-themed night sky. As a video played step-by-step instructions, parents, grandparents, students, and staff enjoyed creating their masterpieces together. Community partners also attended, offering wonderful resources for military-connected families. Katherine Johnson's first ever Military Appreciation Paint Party was a huge success, allowing military families to meet one another while building meaningful memories for the whole family. At Yates Elementary, teachers were given the gift of time. Right before the extended Thanksgiving break, PTA volunteers and resource teachers hosted a fall field day, giving classroom teachers some extra time to make lesson plans, grade papers, or take care of any other work they needed to complete so they could relax with their families during Thanksgiving. Because of COVID restrictions, extra work for quarantined students, and additional responsibilities, many teachers have less time for planning during their workday this school year. Yates PTA recognized this heavy workload and worked with Principal Tim Edwards to design a successful plan that benefited students and teachers. Each grade spent an exciting time outside with resource teachers and parent volunteers, leading a series of fun activity stations. This was a great opportunity for elementary students to enjoy some additional time being active outside while cheering on their classmates. When their fall field day was completed, the PTA provided snacks and drinks for every student to enjoy. Meanwhile, classroom teachers spent the hour and a half working diligently. Some of the extra time focused on instructional planning with their grade level teams, while the rest of the time was focused on individual preparation and grading. Fall Field Day was a creative and generous gesture that offered great benefits to the students, teachers, and parents at Yates Elementary. Once again, Ivy Baptist Church teamed up with Heritage High School to offer free Thanksgiving meals to hundreds of families. During the Saturday before Thanksgiving, church members, educators, and student volunteers spent their afternoon serving the community in a big way through the annual Thanksgiving community feeding. Starting early in the morning, a team of devoted volunteers from Ivy Baptist's culinary ministry cooked up a delicious traditional Thanksgiving meal with all the fixings. Meanwhile, Heritage's student ambassadors, National Honor Society, and Key Club members sorted and bagged school supplies that Ivy Baptist had collected and donated to the school. At noon, seeing hundreds of families during this season of thanks. In just 2 hours, over 800 meals were served, with the Newport News Police Department lending a helping hand to distribute meals to homeless shelters. By working together, Ivy Baptist Church and the staff and students at Heritage High School created a memorable holiday season for many families this year.
Welcome back. We hope that you enjoyed this month's School Board Spotlight. And we are now on to item 2 of our agenda, which is audience with individuals and groups. During our regular meetings, we provide time for the public to address the school board. These opportunities are scheduled in the early part of our agenda and also towards the end of the meeting. The school board recognizes that during the pandemic, some members of the public may not be able to join us in person. As advertised, citizens may submit comments via web form, email, or voicemail up to 30 minutes prior to our meeting time to be included in the official meeting record. For those of you joining us in person, the board considers this an opportunity to listen to your comments, but not to respond at this time. Please understand that we will consider your concerns and get back to you at a later time. We ask that you comply with our 3-minute time limit. As you begin your comments, a green light will come on, a yellow light signals that you have 30 seconds remaining, and a red light indicates that your time is up. We ask that you wrap up your comments at that time. As your name is called, please come forward, and I do have 2 cards at this time from the clerk. The first card is Andrew Lavicek.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Andrew Lavicek. First, I'd just like to thank you for your time this evening, for being here for us. First off, I'd like to address you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Brown. I know we spoke just a second ago. I'd like to thank you for coming to speak to me. I did leave you 2 voicemails. As an elected official, you work for us, the citizens. If it's too hard or, I understand we have busy days. Everybody's busy. I understand if it's too hard, maybe that's not for you. Secondly, I'd like to thank Mr. Ely for returning my phone call in a timely manner. I greatly appreciate it. Again, thank you for coming and speaking with me. Just want to let you know that I appreciate it. The main reason why I'm here tonight is because of a book that was supposed to be part of the 6th grade curriculum at Mary Passage Middle School. The book is called Ghost Boys. If you've read it, you've read it. If you haven't, you haven't. I'm going to give you a real quick update about it. When I saw the opt-out letter emailed to me, my first thought was, what could this book be about? So I did some research, and then I read the book also. I found out that this book is about a black child shot by a white cop. It may come as a surprise to you. I'm a white cop. I, along with my 2 white partners, work some of the hardest neighborhoods in Virginia Beach. You don't see us in the news because we don't shoot black kids every day. We go out with the mindset of making these communities safer and better every day for each child. This book also makes it seem okay for children to bring toy guns to school to intimidate bullies. That is unacceptable. Children shouldn't be taught to fear one another. They should be taught to get along, no matter the melanin content of the other child's skin. Doesn't matter. Lastly, this book has been banned in Broward County, Florida, and Kingsburg Elementary Charter School District in California. This book portrays police officers to be liars, racists, and murderers. This is anti-police propaganda and makes further divides in the community between the police and citizens we've sworn to protect. It also perpetuates racism and divisiveness to the point that only white people live in nice neighborhoods and only black people live in ghettos. It's not a fact. Only white people go to nice, clean schools and black people go to dirty, run-down schools. This is not the case for most Americans. It's not the case here in Newport News. Most of the schools here are very nice, very clean. I would greatly appreciate it if you ban this book from being taught in the district. I just want to say, again, thank you for your time, and you guys have a blessed rest of the night.
Next speaker is Valerie Fashion.
Good evening, school board members and Dr. Parker. I am here tonight as an activist and advocate for my grandson and the hundreds of other students attending Newport News Public Schools. The Newport News Public School system is failing our children. There is a huge academic gap because of the pandemic. This administration has not provided any guidance to parents as to how the board is planning on bringing the educational gap, bridging the educational gap our children are encountering. How is this administration planning on bringing the masses of the children up to grade level? Reading skills are below grade level. Math skills are below grade level. Writing skills are below grade level. Grammar skills are below grade level. Not being able to know and write their last name is also below grade level and unacceptable in the school district. Some of your schools have students that do not know the English language and no ESL teachers available to assist that child or the teacher in the classroom. How is the teacher supposed to teach the child or the children when that child is in the classroom not understanding what the teacher is saying to him or her? What are the administration's plan to remedy this problem? Our students are not being offered a quality education. Every day students are struggling, especially with this Eureka math, to stay afloat. Every student deserves a top-rated quality education that they are not receiving right now. How does this administration justify not having all the students in Newport News public school system socially distanced? Every school board member up here is socially distanced. The little people on the lower grade, they are not. You have 4 people, 6 people sitting at a table with no plastic or no division in between them. That's unacceptable. I am requesting this administration to please find some extracurriculum that can be used to intervene educationally in math, reading, handwriting, and spelling for our children so that we can try to bridge this educational gap. Thanks for your consideration. Have a nice evening.
Madam Clerk, do we have any additional cards? Seeing we have no additional cards at this time, then we will move on to item 3, which is our consent agenda. We thank citizens for your comments this evening. Item 3 includes minutes, 3.01 minutes from the special meeting on November 9th, 2021, 3.02 minutes from the regular session meeting on November 16th, 2021, 3.03 minutes from the special meeting on November 16th, 2021, 3.04 financial reports, including the revenue report for November 2021, the expense report for November 2021, child nutrition reports for November 2021, 3.05 the personnel report, 3.08 approval for participation in the opioid settlement resolution. At this time, can we have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Any further discussion? There being none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Best?
4.
Mr. Ely?
4.
Mr. Harris?
4.
Mr. Hunter?
4.
Mrs. Searles Law?
4.
Mrs. Amon? 4. Mr. Brown?
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right, so thank you. Our next item is our action items, item 4. And so we do have some new course proposals. And Dr. Parker, do you have a summary to give us from the course proposals?
Mr. Chairman, I think Dr. Jones provided the board with the full summary at the previous meeting on each of the course proposals and stands at the ready with her staff to respond to any questions that the board may have.
All right. Okay. The first proposal is the unmanned aircraft systems course, and so we want to take these each course one at a time. So for the unmanned aircraft systems course, the proposal, can we have a motion to adopt the unmanned aircraft systems course?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt the unmanned aircraft course for Denby High School.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. All right. Discussion, questions. All right. All right. There being none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Best,
4.
Mr. Ely,
4.
Mr. Harris,
4.
Mr. Hunter,
4.
Mrs. Searles Law,
4.
Mrs. Amon,
4.
Mr. Brown.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. The next up is World History 2. May I have a motion to adopt the proposed course revision as presented last month to World History 2?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to adopt the course World History 2.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Ely. Discussion or questions? All right. There being none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Best,
4.
Mr. Ely,
4.
Mr. Harris,
4.
Mr. Hunter,
4.
Mrs. Searles Law,
4.
Mrs. Amon,
4.
Mr. Brown.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. The next up is the combining of courses for year-long media arts as a year-long course. So we can have a motion to adopt media arts course revision.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we adopt the revised media arts course.
All right. Is there a second?
A second.
Thank you, Thank you, Dr. Best. Questions? All right. There being no further questions, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Best,
4.
Mr. Ely,
4.
Mr. Harris,
4.
Mr. Hunter,
4.
Mrs. Searles Law,
4.
Mrs. Amon,
4.
Mr. Brown.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
All right. Next up is Stagecraft. There's a revision to adopt Stagecraft 2. I have a motion to adopt Stagecraft 2.
Yes, I have a motion to adopt Stagecraft 2 to our curriculum.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ely. All right. Further discussion? No further discussion. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Best,
4.
Mr. Ely,
4.
Mr. Harris,
4.
Mr. Hunter,
4.
Mrs. Searles Law,
4.
Mrs. Amon,
4.
Mr. Brown.
4.
Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. The last revision is BC Calculus 2-year single block. May I have a motion to adopt BC Calculus revision?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we have a motion to adopt the revision to the BC Calculus course.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ely. All right. Questions? Any questions from the board?
question.
Yes, Dr. Best.
What was the decision or the final outcome regarding offering the double block course to everyone virtually?
Okay, so, and just to clarify your question, are you talking about Virtual Virginia or the Newport News Virtual
Newport News
Learning
School
Academy?
Division.
Okay. All right. Yes, Dr. Fox. Yes, we do have a question for you, yes.
What was your question again, Dr. Press?
Was there a decision regarding offering the double block course virtually to all students in Newport News? I know it's offered at one school now, so possibly the others could do it virtually. Was there some concession or some change or some?
We currently offer it as a double block class now. We will continue to offer it as a double block class. We were just adding the single block class to provide more access for students to be able to take the course.
So her question, I think, to clarify from what I'm hearing her ask, is in addition to for the current class, the double block class that we have, it's only offered at one high school right this year. And the question is, will there be an option for that first option to be available to all students in the district, either in person or virtually?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We would definitely try to provide that opportunity. But as we open up the proposed option, we feel like that would also provide availability to students. But if we do need to offer it virtually, we can do that.
All right.
Pardon for not.
Kind of, sort of. So you're saying if you do need to offer it, so you won't know until it won't be offered, and then you see who accepts. It won't be offered like that.
Well, we encourage our students to register for courses early.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's a situation where there's a transfer student or there's a student who wants to take the class, we would provide every opportunity for them to sign up before the course offering. If there's a situation where there's a conflict, we'll do all that we can through Virtual Virginia or through Virtual Learning Academy or from in-house to provide it virtually.
And currently, we're in the student course selection stage,
Yes.
so we can't make a guarantee that there'll be students currently who will want the virtual option. It'll have to play itself out in the course selection process. So if you have,
So is it being offered now?
virtually, we're having students sign up for courses now. They're in the student sign up stage for courses. And then once we get the data from how many students have registered for courses, we build our schedules based on that information. So we can't, once we have that information, the question I think you're asking is, if we have the students, will we provide the opportunity? And the answer to that question is yes.
Yes.
But this also, what's before you this evening, will provide also other opportunities for students to take a one-year course in either AB or BC calculus as another option. But if that AB-BC option is chosen, and let's say a kid at Minchville, his class doesn't make, and he wants to take it with the Woodside teacher, we'll try to make that option available virtually if that's necessary. You also still have the option, if it'll fit within their schedule, for the student to transport over to that school to take the class face-to-face. That option never has been taken away from students. So we'll try to work out as best we can to accommodate a kid's course requests, as we've always done, through Virtual Virginia, the Virtual Learning Academy, or distance learning opportunities, which would be, like you said, him staying at his home school but zooming in to that course virtually.
So I just want to make sure I'm clear. So if I'm a student at Heritage right now, and I wanted to, would I know that if there's not enough students at Heritage for the course, would I know if I was registering now for courses that I would have an option to do it virtually if there are enough students? Do the students know that?
We will do all that we can to make provisions for students to be able to take the class virtually if there is not an in-person offering at their home schools.
And what we normally provide, sometimes students will sign up, but they have optional courses in their course selection process. So if a course doesn't make, the counselor doesn't have to pull them in. They can also take the course that did make. Mm-hmm. So that process plays itself out in the spring. I think Dr. Blow am I saying probably in the March-April time frame we start solidifying student course requests? Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Sorry I didn't answer your question.
Right. Thank you.
And I believe Ms. Amon had a question next.
I did, thank you. Probably a couple. Because I guess I'm a little confused and looking at some of the email correspondence and follow-up information. It looks like Woodside currently has 2 AB sections, so that appears to be we have AB single block. And then at some point, Denby was offering BC calculus, so it seems like at some point Denby was offering not the AB, BC together in a year, but they were doing BC.
They were offering the AB, but over the last couple of years, there has been a decline in BC calculus. So providing this additional option will provide more access for students to actually be able to sign up for the course.
I guess I'm curious because, 30 years ago, I'm dating myself, but we went straight to BC for a year. We had 50 minutes a day or whatever, 5 days a week. We had the math analysis to BC. I guess I'm a little confused as have we looked at, why over the last few years are we losing the BC interest if it's been fairly consistent over decades? Why is this hitting now? And it seems like we're kind of already have the capability to do this because it's been done at Denby and Woodside having single sections or single blocks.
They have very few students who sign up for BC Calculus as a double block course because it does impact their magnet availability for being able to take elective courses. So students apparently don't, they're not engaged, or they don't want to take the double block course versus taking it as a single course, because it provides more opportunities within their schedule to take it as a single block course.
Now, and does IB, how does that math curriculum compare? Because I'm surprised, I guess we wouldn't have it because of IB at Warwick.
The upper level classes in IB, and correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Jones, are the regular courses we're talking about. But they do have IB math courses and some of the lower level courses in the IB program.
So do they get calculus?
So they would still take calculus.
No, I'm
They actually
trying to
do,
get a
as a
sense.
part of the IB, they do take the AB as a part of it, but they don't take it's not in the same sequence as it would be at another school.
Okay.
But
And they don't do
take
BC as part of the IB program?
No, I believe it's the AB, and then they move on to another level of math. I want to
Okay.
say it's statistics.
All right. And then, Mr. Oslaw, you had a question?
Yes, I guess it's sort of a comment and a question. It just seems that the focus of this is to provide more options for our students. So therein lies a positive. I think a concern that we've been challenged with here is, does it take the rigor out of the course or the encouragement for a student to take the BC calculus and stop at the AB? So if you would speak a little bit to that element of this decision, that would be helpful.
It doesn't take the level of rigor out of the course, because students are actually providing more opportunities to engage deeper within the course, because currently they take it every day, and it's actually compacted in a way that they're not necessarily able to dive into the skills as much as they would if it was offered as a single block class. It also gives them a little bit more time to prepare for the AP exam that they have to take end of April, 1st of May.
April, okay. So what I'm hearing here are kind of two issues. And one big one is, especially if we adopt this option, the onus is really going to fall heavily on our guidance counselors to let students understand what's available and how these will fit in their schedule. Can you speak a little bit to what that professional development might be for the counselors as we're moving in this direction? Because this is starting, even for us, we're kind of trying to figure it out here.
Well, Dr. Blizzard, our Director of Counseling, is a part of the curriculum, course curriculum committee, and we've been in communication. And as she plans her meetings in January, this is something that she will clarify for counselors. I think she's also been in communication with Dr. Parker, just providing some clarification of how counselors counsel with students about course offerings.
Okay. Thank you.
Additional questions? All right. I'm going to ask a question about military students and the scenario of, with this 2-year course, and I'm a student in a military family, I get through the first year, and then now, through no fault of my own, I'm going to move to another school division. What happens to me under that scenario? Am I able to, what kind of credit am I going to get? What kind of transfer capability do I have with what I've taken, because I haven't really taken a full year of the course? Right.
Well, they would still get credit for the AB, and many divisions offer BC as a separate course, as a single block course. So they would still have opportunities to be able to take the BC calculus when they transfer. Is that your question?
So they would be able to take BC, but when they would be taking it over again, essentially, right? Because they only got the first year only covers mostly AB units, but it doesn't fully cover all the AB units.
Actually, it's not structured so that you do half in AB and half in BC. There is actually a combination where the curriculum is set up so that you actually do some of the sections in AB and some of them in BC, and they almost spiral one another. So there could be some parts of maybe units 3 and 4 that are also offered in BC. So it's not 1 through 5 in AB and 6 through 10 in BC. It is a combination of the units.
So be combinations thereof. And what kind of, for this child's college application, what kind of credit does this does this course have any kind of nationally recognized credit? Whereas right now, Calculus AB certainly has a recognized credit by colleges. Calculus BC has a recognized credit. With this hybrid type of a course, and this, under this scenario, what kind of credit would this student get?
They would still get credit for completing the AB calculus.
Okay, and they would still sit for the. Are they going to sit for the exam in that year, in that first year?
There's a BC
Yes.
AP exam.
They're going to sit for the AB. They're going to sit for the AB exam in the spring, in that year of this first year of this hybrid course.
I do believe that they
I think there's only a
complete the BC before they
calculus
take the exam.
So the first year would not be, and think about it this way: the reason you see so much AB across the division is they get weighted credit for AB calculus, right? So they don't have an AP exam, but they get the weighted credit of taking an AP course, of taking a course of that level of rigor, right? When you have BC, you have that AP exam attached to it, and you're highly encouraged to take that AP exam. So there's a commitment there, and that still factors into the decision making that you're seeing. Why AB be a little bit more popular than BC. I think making it a year course, or at least having that year to focus on the BC standards and then taking the associated AP exam, our students will be better prepared and they'll be more inclined to take that course because they'll feel like they're not rushing through a semester. If you saw the sequencing we showed you earlier, sent in the email, they're taking that test in May, the beginning of May. So they're enrolling in the second semester. They have the month of February, March, and then April with spring break, with a week of spring break broken, and then they jump right into AP exams, and that's BC calculus. Whereas they would have a full year to master those standards in a year course. So
And we're not removing the double blocked option. Students still have that as an option.
Yeah, there's some kids who are still fast enough and still savvy, still highly capable of doing well, but our data is showing that that option is not being selected as much as some. And we're still encouraging calculus because you're seeing calculus in other schools.
And it will provide our magnet students with an opportunity to also take their magnet courses.
And then okay, I'll come back to my question because I think Ms. Amon had her hand up.
I just wanted to clarify, are we looking at, because it seems like from the emails, we are offering AB as a full year course, as a single block currently, because some of the students are enrolled in it. So is the proposed change simply to add a BC calculus over an entire year?
That's a good
So
way
we
of putting
already
it.
offer AB for a year. That's there.
Yeah.
We're looking at adding BC for a year.
No, 2 years. Correct.
Yeah, we're looking at adding BC for, you would take AB, and let's say your junior year would be AB, your senior year would be BC.
Well, I think that was my question that I was asking, and I think the answer is no, it's not. You're not getting AB over that first year. You're not getting the equivalent of an AB.
It is my understanding that you're going to take AB in the fall, and then you would transition into BC. Let me look at
But
my
it would be
notes.
AB in the fall, but only a single block
Hold on.
in the semester?
Currently you take AB in the fall, and you're also taking BC with it. That's why it's double block. In the proposed model, you're correct. You would take AB, and then you would take BC. Now students are taking them both at the same time. So every day they're going to a math class because it's double blocked.
But don't they hit the AB material first and then migrate to the BC at the end of the year?
Well, remember the way I talked
it
about
is,
the
it's
way
integrated.
the units, well, they do start off taking AB, and they're kind of doing a combination of both at the same time. That's why we're proposing the single block
You are covering BC
method for
concepts
BC.
in the first year, and then they reinforce those and spiral those
Help.
in year 2.
Dr. Jones is right. I just think it's all in how you're looking at it. So what we're proposing now is that you would do exactly what you said. You're going to take your junior year, that's your AB class. Instead of taking it double blocked, right? You're taking it every other day for 90 minutes, giving you a little bit more flexibility in your schedule. So I have 7 classes, right? The minute you double block me, now I only have the opportunity to take 5 other classes along with my math. Right? So what's happening is our students they're choosing not to do that option because now you're eliminating another class I can take for a year. And they want the option to take other electives and other courses. And so what we're doing right now is not removing rigor, but providing the access. But our students that want to take it that way, we're keeping it that way too. Now, can I guarantee that a student at Menchville who signs up for the BC double blocked, can I guarantee that we're going to offer that in person at Menchville? No, because if there's only 2 of them, I can't have a teacher do that. But what we could do is look at that option for VLA, and then those students have the opportunity, Menchville kids, Warwick kids, all of them have the opportunity to take it virtually in that double block format. But let's go back to the beauty of virtual. Is it really double blocked? Could I truly take BC in 1 year and take my time and my opportunity? I may have to spend 180 minutes a day virtually to learn it, or maybe I only need to spend 90 minutes a day on my own to learn it. Furthermore, freeing up opportunity in my schedule for other classes and other electives. So what we're really truly doing here is just providing more option to students and not removing that rigor. Now, if we have students, I mean, think about it, BC Calculus is a hard class. Do they want to take it virtually? Well, at that point, they may not want to, but then we have distance learning, which is what Dr. Parker was proposing too, meaning that we offer it over at Warwick, and we telecom those students at Menchville into that course with a teacher in that classroom helping facilitate that learning, right? So there's many different options and scenarios. We never want to limit our students. We definitely want to broaden opportunity for our students. And I think by approving this as just another option, we are broadening those opportunities for our students. Does that help?
Will you be able to go from, say, math analysis to BC the 1 year?
That's a really good question. I'm not really sure what our mathematical pathway is here in Newport News. I know from being at the States, we did not recommend that option. So from our Department of Mathematics at the Virginia Department of Education, that was not our mathematical pathway. That doesn't mean you can't do it. There's no law, there's no restriction.
Historically, it's been AB, but we'd have to go back and look to see if there's a barrier for going straight into BC. That was something Mr. Brown had mentioned earlier. I have seen students go straight to BC, but it's in many cases we've historically transitioned into AB.
Yeah, and math analysis, when you talk about it, there is no really, we don't have standards of learning for that, right? So every school division might offer different things for mathematical analysis. So if our math analysis covers the topics that will put our kids successfully into Calculus BC, then that's an option and we can do that, right? That's not going to be an issue.
It'd be a lot easier to with the year course also to transition to do something like that if we provide that progression, because it allows them to fundamentally cover a lot of the AB. The requirements for that AP exam, fully covered requirements for an AP exam as the first calculus class. Whereas with transitioning from AB to BC, you have the foundation of that AB course, and you should be better prepared for the rigor of an AP exam.
And currently, our sequence is that students would take AB before BC. It doesn't mean that exceptions can't be made, but that's our current sequence.
So is presently the AB and BC are sort of intertwined in the double block course, whereas if you separated it, it would be discrete, so that once you had our first year, you could go to another division and take the BC?
I think that the curriculum is still intertwined to some degree, but AB definitely builds on the foundation of the course.
We can also look regionally, because I really think this is regional concern. If I'm moving from if I'm moving from Hampton to Newport News or to Virginia Beach, we can look regionally to see what they're doing, but I don't want to misspeak. But just based on my experience, I believe most of our school divisions are doing what we're suggesting, which is that 2-year progression, which is you take those A, B skills and then you do the BC. We'll check on that. I can't speak for the governor's school at New Horizons, but we'll do all that research for you. If you're asking for that, we'll provide that to you. But again, I think that it's all about options. We're not limiting here. We're just expanding.
Ms. Roselaw, you had another question?
I was just going to make a comment. There is an AP Calculus AB course exam. So there lies the question of the instructor. Will that be an instructor for the year-long AB course who is able to teach at the AP level for taking the test in May?
We certainly hope. Again, it all depends on the teacher and the availability. Who we have available to teach, how many students signed up, those types of things. Which is the beauty, again, about virtual, right? Is now we can really expand those opportunities to all of our students. I know that my daughter did Calculus AB, took the calculus exam, just the AB. and went on to Virginia Tech in engineering. She never got through the BC, but she didn't want to take the BC though either. She thought she was going to get plenty of math in college.
And I think the main thing we realize is with AB being the first semester, not many kids are coming back in May to take an AP exam for a course they took in the first semester.
Yep.
So you're not seeing a lot of AP participation in that result based on the structure of the way it's offered.
And that would increase that opportunity for that AP exam, which would also add,
Two AP credits.
give them the additional AP credits. Okay.
Now, I'm going to ask one other question about speaking to the capacity, both this on the student side and the teacher side. So calculus teachers don't grow on trees. They're a fairly rare breed. So can you speak to what the stress that it places on the system that we now have 3 calculus courses as opposed to 2? And then on the student side, demographically, while we're producing the populations of students that could possibly fill 3 courses at each of our high schools, or what is the plan for that? Because right now we're talking about not having, a dearth of students for 2 courses, but now we're going to add a third. So what's the plan?
I'll take that one, ladies. From a master scheduling standpoint, courses make by student selection, just like in college. And that's the same thing that drives high school and middle school. So in this particular case, the students would decide by course enrollment whether they want an AB option or whether they want a BC option, and how it fits in their schedule, as well as their parents. Which is why we can't say a course will make every year. We have to look at multiple opportunities on how to offer that course. This is about really master scheduling and making sure the options are there so that these courses do make in the future to allow that opportunity. But student selection, which is taking place right now, if 2 students sign up for drafting, we can't offer that drafting course on that site because we have to use that teacher as best possible to offer that course opportunity. Now we may be able to offer it virtually. We may be able to offer it another way through Virtual Virginia. We have to find other options, and that's the work of our counselors. But just giving another option doesn't mean that all 2 of these options will make it one particular school. It depends on how many students sign up, what those students' scheduling needs are. If it's the magnet students, we may have to look at other opportunities, maybe even virtual, to make sure we can accommodate their requests. But that's how it basically makes its way into the high school schedule. It's student driven. Every course that's in our student course selection guide does not make every year, especially electives and higher level courses, because it's driven by student enrollment.
And now, if the students show up for all 3 courses, do we have enough teachers for filling all 3 options at all the schools?
So what we've done in the past is when we see growth, and that's part of program growth. When we see growth in areas, ELL is a great example of that. Over the past 5 years, we've continued to add ELL teachers, right? Because the student selection, the programmatic needs were growing. So you add teachers along to fill that need. So if we see a higher rate of students taking calculus, whether AB or BC, we'd have to make sure we have enough trained professionals to teach that higher course. And that may mean that we may need to make some adjustments from a human resources standpoint to make sure we have the teachers available to teach to accommodate the growth. So that is something as we see more increase, and I'm hoping this will lead to increase.
So too.
That means we need to make sure more math teachers have their advanced degrees to teach those higher level courses, AP, dual enrollment, and calculus, and those type of things to offer these experiences for students. But it would be a factor of growth. And having taught math at high school level, I can tell you that every math teacher cannot necessarily teach calculus. It's an acquired taste. So it definitely would take some professional development, but we would obviously try to grow our own as best possible to meet the needs of our students.
Okay, Dr. Best, you have another question.
So if course selections are happening right now, and we haven't voted on this change, then what are students selecting from? What's currently offered?
Right now, they're just selecting courses,
Yes.
what courses they would like to take. Yeah,
Right.
calculus in the next progression. Courses, applying to magnet programs, and all of the other things associated with that. Now then we build that we determine the allocation of teachers, as Mr. Brown just indicated, who would be able to accommodate the numbers. And that determines how many teachers you need to hire. It's a very complicated process. That determines how many teachers you need to hire, or how many teachers you need to change their teaching assignments based on student enrollment, the student course selections. Once you've done that and determined the number of teachers, the number of sections you need, then you start building the master schedule.
Right, so are they voting now? I guess my question is on these two courses. The two courses, is that a choice that they can make now if they're selecting courses now? That's what I'm asking.
With the approval of the board, we would be able to offer that option to students.
So it's not being offered until it's
Right.
approved? Okay.
So if a student said, I want to take A, B, or BC calculus at this particular time, councils will reach back out to students and encourage them to look at any options available that would fit their schedule.
Okay.
And you have to remember, higher level courses are singletons or doubletons. And a singleton means the course is only offered one time. Doubleton means it's offered twice in the schedule, right? So that means when they bump up into each other, it's a choice that has to be made. So that's some of the work of building that schedule out to make sure you can accommodate as many opportunities as possible.
And Dr. Blow, to answer your question, official registration starts on January the 11th.
Okay.
Councils have just begun talking to students at this time.
Great. Thank you.
And doing the counseling piece that I think you were
are
asking
in play
about.
right now, right? That's okay.
Thank you.
January 11th.
Okay, thank you. I think that does cover, just for clarification, what we're voting on this evening, we're talking about a 2-year Calculus BC single block course. So it's a course every other day, and it's over 2 years.
It's 1 year.
1 year.
So the junior year, you would take Calculus AB. Wow, aren't we confusing each other? So I'm like, what are we taking again? Junior year, you would take Calculus AB, and then you would have the opportunity to take the AP exam if you wanted to in May for Calculus AB. In your senior year, then you can take Calculus BC. Now, you can also take Calculus AB your senior year and take that exam, the AP exam, for AB your senior year too. We're not limiting anybody. So there's, again, lots of opportunities for our students.
And you can still take AB and BC your 11th grade year, or AB and BC double block your senior year. But the proposal is that they take the AB the 11th grade year and the BC the 12th grade year as an additional option.
Okay.
Yes,
it just brought up a question on the AP test, and maybe Lisa, you can find this. I think the AB AP test, so that gives you like a semester of college credit, because AB is equivalent, I think, to 1 semester of calculus in college. But the BC AP test would give you a full year's college credit. So if you were to take the AB AP test, and you would take the BC AP test, would you maybe be foregoing a couple college credits from that first one because you'd want the full year on the BC? Or do we know?
Say that
I think the AB AP test only gives you a 1 semester calculus credit in college.
I did remember
But the
Mary Carey
BC
saying
AP
something like that.
test gives you a full year's calculus credit in college.
Right.
So I don't know that students would necessarily want to take both. They might want to wait and just take one. I don't know if it would be a pro or a con in the credits that you.
The pro would be practice.
Yeah.
I would encourage my child or any student to take that AP calculus, exam for AB, giving you practice for that BC exam. And then it's still a year and a half of credit, as we know how colleges work. I mean, you're still getting that half credit too.
That's true. Even if you didn't
And
get further in math, you'd always get the credit hours.
4 or 5.
Right.
And they look at
That's always a question.
You have the 5, you can't even have a 4.
And they look at the number of AP courses that you've taken, and so you can be like the AP scholar and so forth. So there's a benefit to it, definitely.
We're getting there. We're not quite in high school yet. So.
Yeah, it comes quickly.
I believe that's all of our questions. And now, any comments before we vote? All right. There being no other comments, and I will make a comment just because math is of course a passion area for me. So please indulge me for a few moments here. And these are in my. And I appreciate the superintendent providing all the information they did. In my understanding, the Calculus BC is only 4 more units compared to Calculus AB. What I found was the Euler's method, arc length, parametric equations, and infinite sequences. Those are the only differences between the two. That's it. And then just according to the Princeton review, and I know in our division we have the 10 units, and we're doing 8 units, 8, 9, 10 really being the difference between Calculus BC and Calculus AB. Those units 1 through 7 are largely it's identical. Now, according to the Princeton review, it's only 25% more material. But if we go with the data we saw earlier today, we can go ahead and round up to 30% more material. But that's 25% more material, not 50% more material or even 100% more material, in my opinion, to justify doubling the length of the class. Okay, because beyond those 4 units, Calculus AB and Calculus BC are identical. In fact, so Calculus BC covers more topics. It does. But that does not necessarily make the exam harder. And I think that's an assumption that's going in here, that the Calculus BC exam is just so much harder. It's actually not necessarily harder because you are covering more topics in the BC versus the AB exam. And because you're covering less topics, the AB and BC exams are the same number of questions, and they're the same amount of time. I looked this up on the College Board. Therefore, you actually have to become more skilled in fewer topics to pass the AB exam. Now, here's the evidence of that principle. And this is according to the College Board records. Students are twice as likely to get a perfect 5 on the Calculus BC exam versus the Calculus AB exam. Twice as likely. So how could it be a harder test, right, if students are having that much more success? In fact, in outcome, Calculus BC is the easiest AP exam that's offered, not the hardest. All right, so listen to this. More students get a perfect 5 in Calculus BC than they do in computer science, physics, English, history, chemistry, biology, art, etc. Almost every single exam area. For example, students are 4 times more likely to get a perfect 5 on the Calculus BC exam versus the Calculus English AP exam. 4 times more likely. Now, if you think these are different populations of students, because it was like in 2021, 500,000 kids took English AP, and it was 135,000 took the Calculus BC. So if you think those student populations are dissimilar, then let's look at computer science. Students are 3 times more likely to get a perfect 5 on the Calculus BC exam as compared to the computer science AP exam.
Mm-hmm. That's a hard one.
So if you want to say that, so those populations sound pretty similar. And then if you want to look at another, still don't think those populations are similar, then students are 5 times more likely to get a perfect 5 on the Calculus BC exam versus AP physics. 5 times more likely. So which test is harder? And if we're making this argument about spreading classes over 2 years, then why aren't we spreading English and history and chemistry, biology and art, all of the physics, all these other classes where it's much harder to get a perfect 5 on those tests than it is to get on Calculus BC. My opinion, double block Calculus BC, and in the experience of my own child, double block Calculus BC was easier than single block. And that was the opinion of my child's teacher at the time, who told my child to take double block BC. In double block, students get twice as much time with their teacher every week. Moving to single block I think is going to make the class harder, not easier. I want you to think about struggling with a math concept and then consider that you get to see your teacher the very next day for 2 blocks. You're going to get to see your teacher and ask lots of questions. So it's pretty easy to get your questions answered when you see your teacher every day for 2 hours or more. Now contrast it with having to wait because under single block, you're not going to see your teacher until a couple days later. And you only get to ask your question during a 50-minute class. So which one sounds easier? And then next I want you to consider trying to remember what you learned last year for your AP exam this year. Which one do you think is harder? Remember what you learned last year versus remember what you learned this year versus remember what you learned over the last 2 years to prepare for your BC exam. I think it's easier to prepare for that exam in 1 year. And then finally, because I'm looking at this from a math perspective, I don't think this is necessarily going to free up a student's schedule. Students are going to get 4 bites of this apple in terms of taking a math class. The engineering strand at the Governor's School compels students to finish Calculus BC by their sophomore year. Okay, so under this 2-year design, students aren't going to necessarily get that unless they're already in pre-calculus in the 8th grade, and we don't offer pre-calculus in the 8th grade for the most part. So students are missing out on that competitive engineering strand at the Governor's School and missing out on really Calculus BC. It's that gateway class to the engineering, to the STEM majors. Okay, So, and those are my arguments for why it's just really important that we don't take away half of their math classes by offering this choice, because you are using up. They could do calculus BC in 1 year, but now you're going to make them do it in 2 years. You're going to do calculus AB and then BC. To me, that's less choice and it's less flexibility. And so that's my feelings. All right, but I see no other comments and questions. I thank you for your time.
I think you put a lot of information out there. I think I need to respond to that.
Okay.
The course hours, the hours of instruction, are fairly similar between a double block class where you're meeting every day and a course that you're meeting on an AB schedule. So that the argument that they would not that there's a seamless transition between stretching it out and not getting effective instruction. We're talking about, from an equity standpoint, students who may not be strong in calculus. The thing we need to realize is that all kids aren't built the same. They're high achieving math brains. Then there are folks who have to work harder, like my daughter did. And I think having that opportunity to do homework, get assistance, and also balance a variety of other courses, if they have a magnet option, if they have interest in career technical education, gives a more holistic and well-rounded opportunity for education. We want, at the end of the day, every student to have a college level experience before they graduate. So if you're just limiting that option, and we're not taking that option off the table, Mr. Brown, from what you were just talking about, that option is still on the table. But if we want students to have that level of math rigor or have higher level science, or then we have to provide other opportunities for access, even if it's just the AP. It's still. Can you imagine a kid having calculus in high school before they go into college? And if they had to miss that opportunity because they had to double block, which is why our counselors are probably working these deals to get AB in the schedule. If they have to miss that opportunity because what we're offering is just a double block opportunity, then they're missing the opportunity to have calculus or that higher level math before they go into college. If we want to look from an equity standpoint, we want kids to have rigorous opportunities, even if it's just AB, before they go on to a 4-year institution. And then we also still want to have that opportunity for that double block class option for a student who may test more effectively in a one-year course that combines all of the rigor of AB and BC in the same course. So I think we're meeting both of the standards that we're looking for here, but we're adding some equitable opportunities for students who may not be on a strong course pathway for math, and we have plenty of those students. I think we'll see BC increase under whatever option it may be, if we make it more conducive to the master schedule. But you can't fit a round peg into a square hole if it doesn't fit in the kid's schedule. It just hasn't been happening. So I think we still have to look at innovative ways to offer it, whether it's virtual or other opportunities. And that's really what we're talking about, in my opinion.
Okay. All right.
We're passionate
All right.
about this.
Yes, we're passionate about this. All right, there being no further comments, and Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
I just got a lot of calculus.
Okay. Dr. Best?
4.
Mr. Ely?
4.
Mr. Harris?
Against?
Okay. Mr. Hunter?
4.
Mrs. Searles Law?
4.
Mrs. Amon?
Against.
Mr. Brown?
Against.
Motion carries 4-3.
Now, next item on our agenda is item 4.02, the proposed fiscal year 2022 legislative program. Dr. Parker, do you have a summary of that?
Well, we have Mr. Finneran here. He presented a legislative agenda at the last board meeting, and also presented that legislative agenda to our elected officials during the Take Your Legislator to School Day. And unless board members have any questions regarding that agenda, we would like the board's consideration this evening to make it your legislative agenda moving forward. So, Mr. Finneran's at your ready if you have any questions regarding the content of that legislative program.
All right. At this time, I'm going to have a motion to approve the FY22 legislative program.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I motion to approve the proposed FY22 legislative program as previously presented.
Thank you, Madam Vice Chair. Is there a second?
4.
Or a second from Mr. Hunter. All right. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Are there any questions for Mr. Finneran this time? All right. Yes, Ms. Amy.
Question. On the hold harmless proposal, what information or data do we have that our enrollment loss is due to COVID versus possibly other factors?
I don't know that we have, I don't think there's been any statewide surveys about that. We do know that there are about 46,000 fewer students in the public education system in Virginia than before COVID started. That's actually even a little bit more than last year. So it all started, this huge decline started right with COVID. So it's simply a matter of connecting the dots. But I can't say that there's been any scientific survey done on that. So
well, let's look at the synergy system. What we do have is every time a student withdraws from our school division, there is a code for that student in the synergy system. Now that code may just be unverified because they may have moved somewhere and not reached back and collected their student records or given us any information. We don't necessarily have an opportunity for exit interviews for parents who leave our school division. But the only thing we have in our synergy data system would be the circumstances of their disenrollment, whether they have transferred to another school division. It wouldn't give us a justification. Whether they have, whether they're unverified, which means they've left, they're not attending our school division, but a records request hasn't come in. Whether they're a dropout, missed 15 consecutive days, and those are students and families that we're communicating and contacting to re-enroll. And then there are other factors as well, whether homeschooled or other things of that nature. But getting to your question, I don't think it would give you context as to why they disenrolled from Newport News Public Schools. And we're seeing this trend across the state, 45,000 students in all in Newport News. We're looking at roughly around 1,100, which equates to about $7.8 million in revenue. So we're not alone with other school divisions across the state who have seen enrollment decreases. And again, this is more about not drops this year, but kids maybe not coming back from last year because we had a decrease last year. Some of those students came back to us, but not all the students we anticipated in our operational budget.
And is some of it day-to-day fluctuations as well as overall enrollment?
Well, we have daily attendance, but it's not a daily
the whole harmless wouldn't be the daily attendance fluctuations.
But we do have daily attendance reporting. So if you want a summary of attendance reporting by code, that's a data pull from Synergy.
I just didn't know if this funding was impacted by the daily attendance versus enrollment.
It's the enrollment.
Okay.
Yeah. And again, that's about 46,000 fewer across the state. So we are not alone.
No.
I know.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any other questions? Any further discussion? All right. There being none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Dr. Best? For. Mr. Ely?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, please go ahead.
Yes, You're right. It was Searles Law and Mr. Hunter. Dr. Best? For. Mr. Ely?
For.
Mr. Harris?
For.
Mr. Hunter?
For.
Mrs. Searles Law?
For.
Ms. Amon?
For.
Mr. Brown?
For.
Motion carries 7-0.
I had my brain fog for a moment there. Now we are on to Section 5, which is what I was thinking of, which is our monthly school update. Dr. Parker, I believe you have a presentation for our monthly school.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Two areas that we would bring some information this evening, which will also be distributed in our parent newsletter, which will go out this week to families as well. Obviously, we've made some adjustments to health services, which includes now our home test kits, and we haven't engaged with the vendor. So our team will give an overview of that, and Dr. Ming Lamont has some updates in the area of teaching and learning. So I'll turn it over to our team to get us started. Ms. Carlson, are you with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, everyone. We began distributing the BioNex Now home test kit the week before Thanksgiving with the intention of starting the program last Monday, which is what we did. The test kits are available to any student, teacher, or staff member who either has been identified as a close contact of a positive COVID case or has COVID-like symptoms. The test kits are to be done at home. They must be done with an online proctor using a Navica app or the eMed website. Once a parent or a staff member logs in, they create an account. Once their account is created, if they do additional testing, they will log back into their same account. They will have a proctor who is with them the entire time the test is done. That is to ensure that we have accuracy and integrity of the test. The results are available in 15 minutes. Again, the results are brought to the person through the proctor. They then are available electronically. In order for the kit to be verified by the nurse has to have the electronic results that will be given to every parent or teacher or staff member once they complete the process. So far, we have had a really good response. We started with about 1,300 test kits throughout every school. We have given away 400 of them. Our intention is to distribute all of them through the end of this week because the kits that we were given initially do expire on December 27th. I have placed an order for additional kits so that we can continue passing them out to students, families, teachers, and staff when we return after winter break. Next slide, please. We also are continuing working to get our VISTA program up and running. Our MOU was signed by the Virginia Department of Health. We have been matched with a vendor. They are a company called Mako out of Richmond. They will be supplying us with testing personnel who will come into our schools and begin doing the COVID-19 asymptomatic testing. We have hired a program coordinator to manage the program. She will be starting after winter break. The consent forms are currently being approved so that we can distribute them. We're going to start with middle and high school athletes and students participating in after-school activities. Again, I mentioned the consent form. Every student or staff member who participates in the VISTA program will have to have a signed consent. That consent will be managed both by the program coordinator and by the school nurse. We're also going to have an opportunity for other students and staff members to opt into the program. And as we get it up and running using, testing athletes in middle and high school and then the extracurricular activities, we do plan to add additional testing offered hopefully throughout all of our Newport News schools and some of our, maybe have it up at the admin building, possibly at plant services. The program will grow as we continue moving forward with it. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, Ms. Amon.
The middle and high school athletes and after-school activities participants, is this mandatory for them to continue participating in their sport or activity, or is it optional?
It's optional. Of course, we're encouraging everyone to participate, but it is optional. Another thing that the gentleman from Mako, who we had a meeting with him last week, he said that we also should encourage vaccinated and unvaccinated participants, being that, the Delta and the Omicron variants both are showing that people who are vaccinated are, of course, testing positive. But again, it will be an optional program. It will not be mandatory.
Thank you.
All right.
Any other questions?
Thank you. Looks like we have no further questions.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And Dr. Minglaw.
Good evening again. Chairman Brown, Vice Chair Solslaw, Dr. Parker, members of the board. Tonight I just have a few updates for you, and not just for you, but for our families at home. The first update that we have to talk to you about is the Virginia Department of Education has collaborated and partnered with our state testing contractor, which is Pearson, to open up a parent portal for our families in grades 3 through 8 so they can see how their students are doing on their state growth assessments. This portal, parents can see the raw score, but they can also see the student detailed report. And for any of you who've ever seen that detailed report, it's pretty complex. And so what the state has done in collaboration with Pearson has developed tutorials and videos for parents to understand what this report is telling you and how you can further support your child at home. All of our families should have received some sort of communication last week or coming early this week on how to access this portal, and you'll get like a little code that allows you to access your particular child's portal. If you haven't received this communication, if you're still having trouble accessing, we have support that is set up in every single school to help you get access to your portal. The next update that we have for you is we just want a little reminder to all of our families at home that New Horizons Career and Technical Regional Education Center is opening their applications online for students. You can either apply directly online or you can go see your school counselor for support and to learn a little bit more about the program. As you know, or for those of you who don't know, New Horizons has about 24 different programs available for students. These programs range from criminal justice to veterinary science to dental hygiene, welding, automobile mechanics, so a wide variety of them. And of those 24 programs, students can receive out of them 18 industry certifications. So a great opportunity for our students, especially those students who want to go right into work after high school, whether they're going to college and they just need that second job or whether they're just seeking another opportunity. And then lastly, the last update we have is just a reminder to all of our family members that our Virtual Learning Academy is expanding. We started our pilot in 9th through 12th. Now we're expanding down through 6th through 12th. Our applications, we've extended the deadline to January 5th. Any family who's interested in an online learning opportunity for their child, or perhaps they're in virtual Virginia right now and their child is finding success in the virtual learning environment, we encourage you to go online and apply today. If you need support, again, contact your school counselor. They can help you out. If anybody wants to know what really is a virtual learning academy and what does that mean, there is a recruitment video online. We have 3 student stories that talk about their experience in the Virtual Learning Academy this year, how it personalizes their instruction and affords them lots of different opportunities depending on what they're looking for. So that's available. You can go to it by this direct site, or you can go on directly from the Newport News website. If you go to academics and go to virtual learning, you'll be able to find the VLA homepage. And right now, I'll give the mic back to Dr. Parker, who will finish and conclude our monthly school update. Thank you.
And opportunities are being extended, but we also want to reflect on some of the greatness happening around our division, in particular with our student athletes. So at this time, I'd like to just congratulate our student athletes for a great fall season. Special congratulations are in order to the Warwick boys volleyball team. They are the region champions this year. And in addition, the Heritage Boys volleyball team are regional semifinalists, as well as are the Minchville field hockey team and the Minchville girls volleyball team. The Minchville boys golf team placed second in the region. The Warwick High School field hockey team and the Woodside football team and the Woodside girl volleyball team also earned regional semifinalist titles. It was a good year for fall sports. Our teams competed very hard, and as we can see, some of them took some hardware back to their respective schools. At this time, winter sports training and competitions are underway, so we wish our winter sports athletes the best as we move into the winter sports season. But let's take a moment just to congratulate all of these teams for hard work. And Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Parker. Now we move on to 5.02, which is your Take Your Legislator to School report. And Dr. Parker, you have an update from our successful Take Your Legislator to School day?
Yes, sir. Mr. Finneran is coming forward with his last Take Your Legislator to School report for Newport News Public School.
Oh.
So, Pat, we're all yours.
That is correct.
Thank you, and thank you for everything you do.
Absolutely. Well, good evening, Chairman Brown, Vice Chair Cyril's Law, Dr. Parker, and members of the school board. It's a pleasure to bring you the report on the 2021 Take Your Legislator to School event. It was held at Warwick High School this year, and the purpose was to give legislators and other community leaders really a chance to discuss the school board's legislative program, which they did in great detail, and learn about the school division's capital improvement needs, which I think they got a good overview of that, and we're very interested in that. But it was also a chance to for our legislators and other community leaders to see students and teachers back in the classroom after last year's COVID shutdown, and also to tour the Governor's Health Sciences Academy. I think they were very happy to actually be in a school and see students learning and teachers teaching and all the goings on. For the past 2 years, this was held via Zoom, so it was nice to be back actually in class. Just a little picture show here. We were very pleased with the turnout of community leaders to discuss legislative priorities, and those are listed here. You already approved those, so I won't go into them anymore. But the special guests included, we had Senator Monty Mason and Delegate Mike Mullen, aides to Delegate Shelley Simon, Senator Mamie Locke, and Delegate Marcia Price. Our Councilman David Jenkins was there. Several Newport News Education Fund members were there, including our president, Dr. Robin Nell Hubel, as well as other members, and Virginia Peninsula Community College, formerly TNCC, President Dr. Tawana Porter Brannon also came to tour the school and seemed very excited about the programs. So not downplaying the legislative discussions, because that's my thing, but it was really the students that generated, in the school, that generated the most buzz. The Warwick NJ ROTC provided escort services for our guests and received numerous compliments for their professional demeanor and appearance in helping people get to where they needed to be. Two current students, Tamaya Perter and Kaya Lyons, and also Kaylin Slusher, a graduate of the Health Sciences Academy, shared their experiences with the Health Sciences program and how it's helping them in their goals of becoming a health professional. And we're pleased to report that Ms. Slusher was accepted into the nursing program at Virginia Peninsula Community College, and very excited about that. And she was actually able to talk to the new president of the community college as well at that same time. So in these photos, you can really see the pride on the faces of Warwick Principal Dr. Kelly Mason on top and the Academy Director, Dr. Miranda Hall, down below. The rest of the morning really was all students. Again, our ROTC members escorted guests around the building, and the health sciences students demonstrated how they learn and what they're learning. At the top left, legislators and students posed in front of the anatomy display, but earlier they were shown real dissection parts, and I asked about that just to make sure they were real, then I almost left the room. But later, students demonstrated the school's state-of-the-art virtual dissection table, which was made possible through a grant with school division. And that virtual dissection table can do incredible things, and it really is truly state-of-the-art. And it's wonderful to have it in our school. Students also explained their work on a CSI-style forensic investigation, tested guests on surgical hand-washing techniques, not all of them passed, and showed them how to suit up in personal protective equipment, and actually had a little competition on that, which was fun to watch our community leaders participate in. So really, that's Can you click? Well, that's all right. There we go. We're at our last slide here for our Take Your Legislator to School 2021 report. But on behalf of the school division, I want to thank our legislators and community leaders who spent the morning with us at Warwick High. Special thanks also go to the Warwick High administrative staff, the ROTC department, custodial and cafeteria staff, community relations staff, and of course the Governor's Health Sciences Academy, which really stole the show that morning. And at this time, I'd like to invite questions or comments from our school board or superintendent.
Any questions?
I know several of you were there that morning.
Yes.
So, Mr. Fenner and I just want to say on behalf of the board, we thank you so much for your years of dedicated service, and we know that this is your last presentation tonight, and we just want to thank you for all the leadership that you have provided to this board over multiple generations of boards, and helping us to focus ourselves and target our legislation appropriately, and really being a voice for us to connect us with the General Assembly. So thank you for your many years of service.
Well, absolutely. Thank you for the opportunity to have that service. And of course, reports of my demise are a little bit premature. I will be with you through the General Assembly session. I'm looking forward to following through on several of the items in the school board legislative program. But I appreciate your comments and look forward to working with you through at least through March. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we would be remiss if we didn't mention that through Pat's work with legislators, he has brought thousands of dollars to Newport News, to our magnet programs, and through other means, just by working with, especially in areas of our aviation magnet, our health sciences magnet. His work with legislators is top-notch and continues to benefit Newport News. So thank you so much, sir.
Again, thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
All right. Next on our agenda is 5.03, the attendance report, 5.04, the membership report, 5.05, construction report. Board members, you will receive copies of these reports in your packets. Do you have any questions at this time? Hearing none, we'll move on to 5.06, comments by the superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I'd like to kind of speak initially to work that's remaining. We began the RISE Male Empowerment Network several years ago, and under the pandemic, we had to take a step back and move to virtual opportunities. But if you recall, at the end of last year, we started a mentor sign up, and we knew that we would get back up and running. So I am pleased to report tonight that actions are being taken to get a new group of mentors and gentlemen coming into our school division who are willing to work with our young men. We had a meet and greet in this room last week. And talked about the vision of RISE and how they could empower our school division and the work with young men in our community, in our school and community. So I'd like to thank our Male Empowerment Network team, our youth development folks, for hosting a meet and greet last week that I thought was very successful. And we met a few new people and who have either worked in Newport News with young men or who are aspiring to do so. So we are very excited about the work moving forward. The RISE Male Empowerment Network was created to provide a way for youth serving organizations and individuals to collaborate and mentor male youth to create positive life outcomes. RISE endeavors to establish at least one mentoring option for students in every Newport News public schools. So that's our goal. We want a mentoring initiative in every one of our schools. As you may recall, earlier this spring, we embarked on a 100 mentors in 100 days male mentor campaign to recruit and train at least 100 men to serve as mentors this school year. We thank the gentlemen who stepped up and took this opportunity and who will be stepping out as mentors in our school division in the near future. And we just heard that we will be taking a large group of young men to a Wizards game later this spring in terms of getting them outside of the area and seeing some fun and exciting things. So we're looking forward to that. I'd like to also thank our advanced leadership team to support students with the challenges of unfulfilled absences and staff shortages. Members of our advanced leadership team have been serving as substitutes by filling in for school principals, teachers, office professionals, and other support staff. And they've been very good sports with many of the assignments that they've been getting on in some of our schools. The advanced leadership team volunteers are alleviating some of our staffing challenges while getting the opportunity to see the great things happening in our schools. I'd like to especially thank our leadership team for working with our school administrators in support of our students. So as a reminder, Tomorrow, Wednesday, December 15th, is a scheduled half day for all students. Our staff will attend school in the morning, and then they will have an afternoon to work to do some independent learning and professional development. So I think I forwarded a sample schedule to the board in your emails just to see what that day will look like for teachers, and we're excited to have that PD opportunity. As a reminder, all schools and offices will be closed on December 20th through January 3rd for winter break. I wish everyone a happy and safe holiday season. I hope you enjoy your winter break and some special family time. But let us not forget about the need. I encourage all of us to find ways to give and share in this spirit and in this season. And enjoy your time off, enjoy your families, and most of all, enjoy yourselves. Thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Parker. We'll now move on to item number 6, another opportunity to hear from the public. Madam Clerk, do we have any cards?
No, sir.
All right. There being no cards, and we will now move on to matters by the school board. Our student rep, Ms. Amaya Patterson, has asked to be excused tonight. She had a school activity that she needed to attend, and so then we will start with Dr. Best.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. I will be very short. I just want to take a minute to thank every bus driver, cafeteria worker, teaching assistant, teacher, principal, assistant principal, leadership team, and everyone in the Newport News School Division for your hard work and for your dedication thus far. I encourage you to, during the winter break, get some rest, really enjoy your families, and be prepared to come back for a fantastic second half of the school year. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dr. Best. Mr. Harris.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, I'd like to thank the board and you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me the opportunity to participate virtually. Also, I'd like to thank Dr. Parker and his staff for the continued work they've been putting in over the year. And also, I'd like to thank the board for their rigorous debate on the said subjects. Really appreciate that. And I had an intermittent space in there, but did I hear Mr. Bannerman that you're retiring? Pat?
Yes.
Okay, well, congratulations. I appreciate all your hard work and service. Other than that, that's all I have, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. All right, Ms. Amon.
Sure, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And I too want to say, thank you to Pat, and I know you'll still be working with us for a while, but I've had the privilege of serving as one of my committee assignments on the Education Foundation Board. So it's been great working with you on that. We'll miss doing that. And I just want to share, I had the opportunity to go and see Minchville High School's, their chorales. They had a holiday show. I think it was last week, and it was wonderful. And it was wonderful to see the arts come back, and the kids did an excellent job. So I hope to get an opportunity to see and attend many more of those. It's just great seeing that, as well as sports. And we now have the arts back as well, so that was wonderful. And please, anyone that has one, I'm sure, let us all know. We don't always know everything that's going on, so if we hear about it and we can, we'd absolutely love to be there. And just want to wish everybody the best for the holiday break, and look forward to seeing you in the new year.
Thank you, Ms. Amon. All right, Mr. Ely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to take this time to thank all of our administrators, our teachers, our staff of Newport News for the hard work they've done this year. And just take this time, like Dr. Best said, to enjoy your families, and just Happy New Year. Have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Ely. Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to be fast, too. So, great things are happening in Newport News Public Schools. Thank you for the report. Pat, it's been a pleasure. I know we'll continue to see you. I'm, again, on the Newport News Education Foundation Board as well. And I want to give a shout out that I meant to do about a couple of months ago, since we didn't have our chance to give out to a group that I am a part of, the Community Nights. We were able to go to Heritage in Huntington and feed them lunch when they returned to school. We fed each and every person there. They're from the custodians to the bus drivers to the teachers, to the security guards. And we were glad that we were able to do that and welcome them back after that short time. Again, happy holidays to everyone, and we look for a prosperous, safe, and enjoyable new year. Thank you, Mr.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Madam Vice Chair.
Well, happy holidays to everyone, and I just hope that everybody gets rejuvenated. I want to thank the parents for the transition back and the patience that has taken place to get our students back in person. That took a feat, and I'm just happy that parents come and speak to us. So that's important. That means a lot to us as community leaders to be able to hear the voices of the community. Tonight's presentations were great. They gave us the information that were on a positive note for being able to at least navigate the waters that are ahead of us. And so that was a joy. And Pat, I enjoy serving on the legislative committee with you. And so I'm glad you're not leaving until March, so I'm not saying goodbye. And that's all. Thank you, Doc.
All right. Well, I'll tell everyone Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays. We'll see you in 2022.
All right.